So, afternoon, student. Uh, Next topic is IP addressing. Next topic is IP addressing. IP addressing, that means when we are talking about an IP address, that means we are talking about the layer 3. This first layer is physical layer that depends upon the data transfer in the form of bits. We are talking about the layer 2. That thing is a data link layer is working. Data transfer in the form of frames, and we carry MAC address. In case of layer 2, data link layer, if we are talking about the IP address, that means we are talking about the network layer. Network layer and data transfer in the form of packets. Also, it will contain the IP address of source and IP address as well as for destination IP address. This is IP address. IP, that means we have to assign one logical address to a PC. We have to assign one logical address. Logical address here, systems IP address, because we are having two different types of IP. Sorry, we are having different type of addresses. One is logical address, another one is physical address. Physical address is our MAC address. Logical address is our IP address. Physical address, MAC address, we cannot change our system MAC address. Logical address, IP address, we can change our system to IP address. In IP address, we are having two different versions. IPv4 and IPv6. Today, we will learn about the IPv4 address. IPv4 address that denoted with dot notation. IPv6, it is with colon operator. IPv4, that is with dot notation. So IPv4, that means we are talking about the address where we just first assign the IP address to a particular PC. Then after that, we just send data with the help of this IP address. Because we must know about we must assign the one IP address to a particular PC. Next, we have IP header. This is our header, IP header. So IP header, that means we have to prior to discarding the frame header. We have to discard the frame header and trailer, because frame header, that is two, and it is necessary for the next set of instructions to be processed, to be determined from the frame header. As likelihood, this is the identified by determining the field value. Field value, which is this instance that represent the frame. Frame, that is specifically for IP protocol that following completion of the frame process. So the key function of the frame is to determine whether the intended physical destination that has been reached, that is integrated of the frame, that has remained intact. The focus of this section will identify how data is processed following the discarding of the frame header and propagation of the remaining data of the internet protocol. So next we have IP packet header. So this is our IP packet header. In this we are having different fields. Because we have the IP packet header and we have different fields. In that case, first field, that is the version. We are talking about from left to onward. First that is version. So version, that means we are talking about the version, whether we are using IPv4 and IPv6. Second that is header length. Second field that is header length. So in the case of IP packet header, minimum 20 bytes and the maximum is 60 bytes. Sorry, of the IP header. The second field that is header field. So header field is the 4-bit field. Header field is 4-bit field. That is the length of the IP header. Can see length of the IP header in 32 increment. So the minimum length of IP header is 20 bytes. So that so with 32 bits increment, we should see value of 5 here. So the maximum value we can create bit in the form of 4 bits is 15. 4 bits, that means maximum value is 15. Why 15? Because when we convert this 4-bit value into binary value, this is the 4-bit value of binary. When we convert this binary value to decimal value, so that value comes that is 15. So that is why we are saying it's a 15. So with 32-bit here, that would be the header length of 60 bytes. So this field is also called the internet header length. So next field we have that is DS field. So DS field that is different server. So this type of packet that gets the quality of service. Gets the quality of service. Quality of service when we are talking about the audio video file. When we transfer our audio file to the destination, on that time we have to require maximum bandwidth or higher quality of and whether we are talking about the mic or whether we are talking about the internet field. So next field that is total length. So total length that tells the total byte of IP header plus data. Total length that tells the total bytes of IP header plus data. The next we have that is the identification. So identification in if the IP packet is fragmented, then each fragmented packet will use the same 16-bit identification number to identify to which IP packet that belongs to. This is the main motive of IP identification. That means this will use to uniquely identify group of fragments in a single IP packet. So next we have that is flags that control the fragments. Because these flags are in 3-bit for fragmentation. The first bit is always set to 0. And the second bit is called the DF field. So this DF field that is don't fragment and indicate that this packet is it should not be fragmented. And third bit is called MF. Third bit is called MF. MF is that is more fragment. That bit and is set of all fragmented packets that is expected as the last one. So next that is fragment offset. So this offset that provides the location of the fragment in the term of the original IP packet. And next we have that is time to live. So time to live that is every packet is sent within the within some TTL value. Why we use this time to live? Because we have to avoid the looping concept. That is why TTL, that means when we require TTL for avoiding looping concept. for avoiding looping concept. So next field, that is the protocol field. Protocol field. So protocol field that tells the which protocol you are using currently. We need one protocol for communication because we have to manage the communication between two, and as a positive communication, or we can say that the informative information. So next field we have, that is header checksum. So header checksum that we use for error checking. Error checking of the entire header. Next, that is option field, because next we are having the source IP address. Source IP address, at least from where we are sending the data. Then destination IP address. Destination IP address, at least where we send the data, where we want to transfer the data. Next, that is IP option. IP option, this field is optional. Optional, like for security. Security, or we can say that that's specifically for timestamps. Next, we have IP addressing. This is a typical IP address of particular PC, because it tells the from where it is belonging. Because when we are talking about the IPv4 address, that means our complete address size is 32 bits. Single IPv4 address is 32 bits. This 32 bits is divided into four different octets. Each octet that contain 8-bit value. Each octet 8-bit each. Four octet. Each octet contain 4-bit value. 4-bit value means our total is 32 bits. So this field that tells the representation the IP address, because we are having different classes as well. We will learn after this coming two slides what are the different classes we have for the IP address to particular PC. So in this slide, it tells the IP address in the form of decimal value, or as well as in the form of binary value. Before going further, people must know about how we can convert this decimal value to binary value, because we have to convert this decimal value to binary because we require for subnetting part. When we do manual subnetting, for that time we need how to convert our decimal value to binary value. Suppose we are having the IP address 192.22. This is our IP address. IP address in decimal number. Because our system only understands the value of binary value. So we have to convert this decimal value to binary with the help of BCD code. There is a formula, that is BCD. With the help of BCD formula, we can convert our decimal value to binary value. So that is exactly BCD, that stands for binary coded decimal. That is equal form of BCD, that is binary coded decimal. So this is the formula to convert decimal value to binary. So what it is exactly? It is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. This is 8-bit completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is our 8-bit data. This is our 8-bit data. So how we can convert this decimal value to binary value? So this is easy formula. We just add these numbers, right? For example, first we have to convert this left hand number to binary. So this value we have to add 8 as well and 2 as well. That means 1, this side 1 here, 1, right 1 here. The rest of the values 0. So this is the binary value of n. This is the binary value of n. Next we have 32. So we can convert this 32 into binary value. We are having only 32 value directly. Right, 1 over here and rest of the values, rest of the bits are written as a 0. This is the binary value for 32. Next we have 192. 192, that means we have to add multiple numbers. So we are having highest number, that is 28. We have to add 28 plus 64. That is 192. And you just write 1 here, and rest of the bits nothing as a 0. So this is the binary value for 190. Hope it is easy to understand for you people. But this is the easiest way to convert your decimal value to binary value. So next we have network address and broadcast address. So in this you can see we are having the value so this is our IP address, that is 192.16.168.1. We have the value that is 192.168.1.0. First, it will convert this decimal number to binary number. Then after that, this is our broadcast address. This is our first address, that is network address. Last octet value is 255. This address acts as a broadcast address. We cannot assign network address as an IP address. We cannot assign broadcast address as an IP address. So each network range that contains two different networks, two important address that are excluded from the assignable network range to hosts or other devices. So the first piece is excluded address is the network address. That represents a given network as opposed to specific host within the network. So the network address is identifiable by referring to the host field of the network address, in which the binary values within this range are all set to 0. In this case, all 8 bits are 0. And the binary will not allow representing to a 0 as a IP address. So the second excluded address is the broadcast address. This is the broadcast address. Broadcast address is the that is used by the network layer. Network layer to refers the transmission that is expected to be sent to all destination uh, within a given network. So the broadcast address is represented within the host field of the IP address, where the binary address value within this range they're all set to ones. They're all set to ones. So host address to make the range that exists between the network address and broadcast address. Our range that is start from 1 to 254. So this is our range. Range for what? Range for IP address. Or we can say that valid address. This is the range for valid address. We cannot assign 0 as a IP address. We cannot assign as a 255 means broadcast address. We cannot assign as a IP address. That means we cannot assign two different type of address. One is network address and second one is broadcast address. Because we cannot assign these two values as a IP address, whether it is network address or whether it is broadcast address. So next we have next we have the decimal binary and hexadecimal conversions. We're going to next. We're going to launch first rule question. This is the first rule question. Students. So next we have the decimal binary and hexadecimal conversion. This is only the range. It is a range of binary value. If we are talking about a 4-bit value, 4-bit value is there. We are talking about an 8-bit, so this is our 8-bit value. Decimal value that is from 0 to 9, and hexadecimal that is from 0 to F. The use of a binary decimal and hexadecimal notation are commonly applied to the IP network. IP networks to represent address schemas. Address schemas as well as protocols as well as the parameters. And therefore, the knowledge of fundamentals, the construction of each these base forms of important to understand behavior and application of the value. This is the value within the IP address. So each numbering system is represented by the different base value that highlights the number of values used as a part of this the base notations. Basically, the range of the notations. So in the case of binary, only two values are ever used. That is 0 and 1. These two values are used. So which is a combination that provides the increasing number of values. So often representing as 2 the power of x, and where x that denotes the number of binary values. So hexadecimal that represent the base 16. So hexadecimal is a base 16 notation with value range from 0 to F. So this is the base station of base notation of the hexadecimal value, where A that represents the value following the 9. So 0 to 9 and A then up to F. Next we have binary notations. So how we can convert the binary values? If we are having the decimal number, and if we are converting this zero number into binary number, we have to represent the value zero each bits. Suppose we are having zero, 1, 2, we are having 8-bit value, required 8-bit value. So for that we have to assign the zero. If we are talking about the one is here, the rest of the values zero. We are talking about the two is here. It's all about the conversions. Next we have binary conversions. We already studied how we can convert the binary value. Next, that is the binary conversions. So we already learned about how to do binary of BCD, because BCD is the easiest way that you can convert your binary value to decimal value to binary value. Next, we have the classes, IP classes. So IP classes, the number of objects that support in each and every class. You people must know about the range of the class. Because we are having 5 classes where you can assign your IP address. Class A, class B, class C, and class C. We are having these 5 classes. Class A, we start from class A, that is from 0 to 126. Class B, means that start from 128 to 191. And class C, 192 to 243. And next that is 244 to 239. After 242 to 55. This is the range where we can assign the IP address. And your IP address that tells the from which IP address, from which class they are belonging. And that is completely from your first octet value. Suppose I am having the IP address 129.0.0.1. This is the IP address 129.0.0. First octet value that tells you from which this IP address is belonging. 129 that is class B. Is this IP address that is belong from class B. One address we just missed, 127. 127, what it is exactly? So 127 is a loopback address. That is loopback address. 127. After that, class B, because we only use class A, B, and C. We cannot use class B, class C. Because class D, that is specifically for multitasking. Class B and class C, that is specifically for experimental purpose. You can say that for research and development. Next, we have IP address types. IP address types. These all are the private address from class A 10.0.0.1 to 255, 255, 255. So these all are the private address from class A, B, and C as well. These all are the special address. Special address like your systems 127.0.0.1. This is the special address. Special address for the loop back. This is our loop back address. If you want to check your systems address, suppose if you want to block number of if you want to block the websites in your computer, so you can use this IP address or you can use this loopback address for blocking any website in your PC. Especially for your PC or a single PC, because this address acts as a loopback address. So next we have the IP addresses. We can say that IP combination. Before going further, I am going to launch another cool question. I'm going to launch another cool question. These questions are typically from your current topic. You people must attend which layer is responsible for end-to-end error checking. So correct answer for this question, that is the transport layer. Sharing the screen and going to further explain next slide. This slide that tells the IP configuration, IP communication. So in order for a host to forward traffic to a destination, it is necessary for a host to have the knowledge of the destination network. Definitely, you must know about your destination. If suppose I want to send one packet to a destination, I must know about the IP address to my destination. IP address, that means our, company's network. So that time we need the IP address for the destination. So this is achieved through the comparison of the destination network to the source network. That means source network is also transferred to the destination or complete address. Source is your host IP address. So host IP address that also transfer to the destination when we are sending packet to the destination. That is why we are saying our communication is two-way communication. We are getting acknowledgement from our destination. Next we have the subnet mask. This is the subnet mask. So first we have the subnet mask for first, that is, suppose this is our network ID and this is our host ID. And subnet address, that is 255.255. Why it is 555? Because we are having all these type of classes. We have all these type of classes. In class A, we have because the single IP address, it contains 4 octet values. Host ID, host ID, host ID, and network ID. So in class A, we have one network ID and 3 host ID. So that means maximum number of hosts in class A. In class B, we have network ID 1, network ID 2, host ID 1, host ID 2. That means in class B, we have 2 network IDs and 2 host IDs. Now, in one single octet, maximum value is 255. This maximum value. Class C, in class C, we have large network. Why large? Because we have 3 octet value as a network IDs. And one host ID. So that means when we are talking about a large network, that means on that time we are using class C network. So when we are talking about the large number of hosts, on that time we need class A's IP address. In subnet mask case, that depends upon your network ID. How it will depend upon the network ID? Suppose we have class A. So subnet address for class A, that is we are having one network ID. So one octet value that is a 255 and the rest is 0. Let's see octet as a 0. Second, we have class B. In the case of class B, we are having 2 network IDs. That means we have 2 times 255 and 2 times 0. So these all are the network IDs. And we are having class C. That is 255 dot 255 dot 255 dot 0. So this is the subnet address for class C. This is the subnet address of class C. Because the default subnet. So next we have the default subnet address. This is your default subnet address. So class A, class B, and for class C. So next we have address planning. This is address planning. So in that we have the IP address, that is 192.168.1.7. Suppose we are having this IP address. So this IP address that belongs from which class? It belongs from class C. So what is the default subnet mask address for this IP address? 255.255.255.0. So after that, you can see on the screen what is the binary value for this address. It is must convert this decimal value into binary values. Then after that, we are having the network address for this IP address. Network address. So network address for this IP address, that is 192.168.1.1. This to be from 0 because network address is 0. And total number of hosts, that is 2 raised to power n. 2 raised to power n, and valid IP address, that is 2 raised to the power n minus 2. What is 2? That means one is network ID and your broadcast address. Network address and broadcast address. We have to remove these two values from your complete address. So next we have this is the question for you people. If we have the IP address for this 172.16.1.7 and subnet address is this. What is the network address for this range and what is the host address for this and what are the different valid address for this? So next we have that is address limitations. Address limitations. Address limitations, that means this is one of the main constraint of the default subnet mask. Default subnet mask that occur when multiple network address range are there. Multiple address ranges are applied to the given enterprise. So given enterprise, in order to generate logical boundaries, boundaries that between the host and within the physical enterprise, basically physical enterprise network. So the application of basic addresses schemas may require a limited number of hosts to be associated with a given network, for which the multiple networks are applied to provide the logical segmentation of the network. In doing so, however, a great deal of address space that remain unused, that displaying insufficient of default subnet mask applications. So that means we are having the limitation when we are talking about the IPv4 address. So how we can overcome this situation? We can overcome this situation with the help of subnetting. We can create some small groups. We can create some small groups in a large company with the help of subnetting. So next we have the VLSN calculation. So we will use VLSN calculations, where VLSN, that stands for variable length subnet mask. Variable length subnet mask is used to save the IP address. So in this we can take subnet mask as a 128. Suppose we just take 128 as a subnet mask, because we change the default value, because by default subnet mask for IPv6 for class C, that is 255.255.0. So this is our default subnet mask. But we just change the value with the help of VLSN from 0 to 128. 128, that means we are having only 7 bit value required pending for the host. That is why That is why in PPTs here is a red line, and one octet value is here. 4 bit, and this is 3. And 1 bit that moves to the network address. So that means we are having the network address and just one is 25 bit. We have 25 bit of network ID in this subnet mask. Let's go in the PPT. So in that case, we have total number of hosts, that is 128, and the valid host, that is 2 raised to the power n minus 2, where 2 that is specifically for network address and broadcast address. So next we have the different class C subnet mask. So before this, I'm going to launch another full question. Student, we will learn our this VLS calculation implementation in our next lecture. If you feel any doubt, you can just tell me. Okay, then student, take care. We will meet on our next lecture. Yes, students.